Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
That's point 6B, so I'll come to that. A lot of people have come here today to talk about the Canadian Football League because this is the CFL's number one podcast. There aren't many CFL podcasts to begin with, but this is number one. And so here are your games. There were only three. Edmonton beat Sask 26-24, which I said the numbers showed there was no way, no way Edmonton would win in Sask on Friday. Who won, Darren?
Edmonton won in Sask on Friday.
26-24. The head coach of Saskatchewan comes out, Craig Dickinson, whom I love, and I think is a tremendous coach, and said, we're not very good. That was after the game. The quarterback, Cody Fajardo, got booed by the home crowd, which is not a rarity, and it's certainly not a first for him, let alone a list of franchise greats. He said it hurt, and he said the team feels like the whole world's against them. He's right on all count. But if you went and listened to my commentary this morning on Sask Radio, you can read it at rodpeterson.com. Cody does need to toughen up. I don't think my brother will mind. We had this discussion on the phone yesterday, me and my brother. He's like, Cody's got to toughen up. And I said, listen, at 30, I was soft. I'm not saying that Cody's necessarily soft, but I was certainly sensitive. All my family watching, can you at least admit that I was sensitive at that age? Cody's very sensitive. I'm not anymore.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
2 weeks into the season, close games and wacky finishes are a common theme in the NFL. It's great news for the league, giving viewers who have no fantasy football nor gaming interest reason to stick around until the end. There have been 12 games decided by 3 points or fewer already, the most through the first 2 weeks of a season in NFL history.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. I know I look like I'm underwater, and that's the last mention I'll make of it. It is a Tuesday, as far as I know. It's episode number 845 of your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. And here we go. I'm in South Florida. In a moment, you're going to see the Moose in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. It's going to be a very entertaining show. If you have any problems with what you're looking at, I encourage you to just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and listen to our soothing voices as we give you the best daytime sports talk show content in North America.
Hot.
And there we go. It's hot. Coming up today, a Seattle Kraken broadcaster, Mike Benton. Benton on the mic, if you want to go follow him on Twitter, Mike Benton. In hour two, Tori Gurley, our NFL insider, will be with us, and some other special guests along the way. The Moose is with us. And, hey, Moose, you get into a day where you think that you know what you're going to talk about, last night's Monday Night Football games and any football-related stuff, and all of a sudden, boom, a couple things happen. One, you remember that you're from Canada, and you're probably going to have to talk hockey at some point. And two, half the league goes and retires on this Tuesday. It completely changes everything that you're ready to talk about. So what would you like to talk about today before we get into the quick six? Anything that you would like to get off your chest or mind?
No, that Monday night game, let's just forget about it. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
I think we're done with that. But if I did have to, wrap it, I think, it's the worst loss in the Mike Vrabel era in Tennessee. Buffalo needed that one. You won't think it, but that they needed it because they've struggled with Tennessee in the past. And they didn't just need to win that game. They needed, to squish them into the ground. And I think Buffalo's on their way, which we knew. Tennessee will be okay. I thought they got frustrated. They went down the field, drive for drive with them early, scored the touchdown.
We'll get
to that. The third down a few times, but yeah.
We're going to get to the Monday Night Football and the Quick Six Show topic. So can you hit the Quick Six Show horn, please? Director Jordan, please, and thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. By the way, there was no part of being in Buffalo last night that I wanted to be there. There was a lot of people going, I love Buffalo. It's the greatest place. I've been there. It looked like the 95,000 people at the stadium were having a good time, but just not for me. Here is our number one point. It's what came down the pipe in the National Hockey League on Tuesday morning. After 24 NHL seasons, former Boston Bruins captain Zdeno Chara is hanging up his skates. He announced on Instagram Tuesday morning that he'll be signing a one-day contract to retire as a member of the Bruins. Now, I could sit here and go through his resume because it's a Hall of Fame resume. You and I aren't going to argue whether he should go to the NHL, the Hockey Hall of Fame, because we all know that he should. It's not even a question. So that happened. Moments later, former Montreal Canadiens and Nashville Predators star P.K. Subban announced his retirement from the NHL. He's 33 years old, and last year in 77 games with New Jersey, he had 5 goals and 22 points. We thought that was enough. He was a second-round pick, 43rd overall by the Montreal Canadiens. And we're like, okay, let's talk about Chara and Subban. And then Wango. It was like in our morning, somebody informed me, maybe it was you, that Keith Yandel's retired now. That all came down on Tuesday morning. 1,109 NHL games for Keith Yandel, 619 career points. Arizona, the Rangers, Florida, and the Philadelphia Flyers. And it spawned this poll question. And again, I think a little bit of the heat stroke still carrying over into Tuesday for me. I can't remember who came up with the poll question today, but it was a good one, guys. Thank you. In our morning meeting today, whom of the 3 players that retired on Tuesday morning did you enjoy watching the most? P.K. Subban, Keith Yandel, or Zdeno Chara. So that's our number one point. That's the biggest breaking news of this Tuesday. And of all of them, we can sit here and debate this for 2 flipping hours, Moose. I had somebody, you probably might have seen it, somebody wrote in on Twitter and said, none. I didn't enjoy watching any of them. You sound like a lot of fun to be around. I'll say this about Chara. I remember when he came through what was the Agrodome at the time in 1995 with the Prince George Cougars. I was calling the game. Regina Pats hockey, me and Al Dumba. And we're like, who is this freak of nature? The 8th wonder of the world. I think Zdeno Chara at 17 years of age was 6'9". And Al and I said, for anybody who's watched him live, even in junior, it was the same thing. If he reached out both his wings with one stick in one hand, he could probably cover 75% of the blue line. So that's what I remember about Zdeno Chara, first laying eyes on him in junior hockey. But P.K. Subban was a lot of fun to watch, too. He seems kind of yappy. He doesn't seem to be a great teammate. But he was fun to watch. And I will say this about Keith Yandel. We had Derek Morris on, Arizona Coyotes great, former Flames draft choice. Remember, I said to Mo, who's the best defensive partner he ever had? Actually, one of the viewers asked him that. He said Keith Yandel. So lastly, Darren, these are 3 tremendous hockey players retiring today. It's too bad they couldn't space it out over 3 days. I'm guessing they probably didn't talk to each other.
Yeah, they didn't communicate. I think all 3 at some point were all Olympians, too. Did Yandel make an appearance on Team Canada? I think he did.
Oh, I'm sure he would have.
Yeah, at one point. PK was a lot of fun to watch. And, a guy who won a Norris, won an Olympic gold, right? And did a lot of great things in the NHL, was a lot of fun to watch. I remember Chara, though. I hated him because he played with the Bruins and being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan as a kid growing up. But I remember when he went through the Islanders and through the Ottawa Senators program, he was a pylon. I mean, he was just big and he couldn't move. And then he got to Boston and he just found his game and he just figured out the kind of player he needed to be. He was tough, but he was respectful. He was mean and nasty, but still clean at the same time. And you just couldn't do anything about it. He was going to be on the ice and you were not going to be able to get around him, get to the front of the net. So yeah, it's a tough day. Three guys, and Yandel played at a high level for a long, long time, was a valuable member everywhere he went on any team. So never made a lot of mistakes, that guy.
3 tremendous players. Terry Livermore watching, I think he's in Calgary, said Yandel is American. That's fine. Darren, didn't you ask if he played internationally? Chara played internationally. I saw the post this morning. He had over 200, I think, international games played. Or maybe that was Stanley Cup playoff games. What jumped out to me was over 1,650 NHL regular season games played by Zdeno Chara. What Darren's getting at, and I agree, is 3 of these players were tremendous NHLers. They were tremendous at representing their country. And by the way, I just called up our feed on YouTube. It doesn't look that bad. It's not perfect, but it's fine. We'll get through it. But I will say this. Our medium, Kevin, is watching. Kevin, the medium. And he says, Chara was a dirty 2011, still brings anger to my Canuck broken heart. Was he at it? I thought he was a very good player. Chara's going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. There's no two ways about that. But we seem to have some spirits interfering with our technical broadcast, Kevin. So if you can alleviate those in some regard, that would be great. He has offered to give you a reading, Darren. Have you had that reading and with your medium, Kevin, one of our regular viewers, yet?
It's in the book. It's on the books. So it hasn't happened yet, but it's scheduled. So that will be later today.
Everybody's writing in good morning, and I appreciate y'all doing that. I just can't say good morning to everybody. Just sit back and be entertained, please. This is funny. James in Borden, Manitoba says Rod's dial-up internet is acting up. Yeah, because here in South Florida, we're really hurting for technical aspects, right? We're way behind in South Florida. Those of you in Borden, Manitoba. Randy from Winnipeg says, loved Chara crumpling up the Leafs. You're starting to see a lot of, here's Todd Pinkney. Pinks writes in, PK Subban slew-footed his way out of the league. From E. Nordtap, he says, Hollywood Subban ready to go into action as a color commentator. Jason in Red Deer says, PK Subban fun to watch off the ice. We talked about that in our morning meeting. He's been in the movie Jackass. He's been on the Netflix series. What are you laughing at? Oh, you're thinking about what he did in the movie, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last comic stand.
Slapping.
Or whatever. Last one laughing.
Last one laughing. LOL. Last one laughing. Yes. And listen, not surprising that this is happening. Andrew Stout, Montreal Canadien fan, says Chara will be remembered for his hit on Pacioretty that put Pacioretty out. That's what you'll remember him for. But that's not what I thought of when I thought of Zdeno Chara. I didn't think of him at all. I thought about I saw him in junior at 6'9" and his incredible wingspan. So clearly everybody has their own memories, and we've spent enough time on this. We're going to move on. But Jason in Red Deer says, I see why Tom Brady fired the iPad into the earth. Bad Wi-Fi in South Florida. Well, it was in New Orleans, and I'm moving on from that, too. Nothing we can do about tech gremlins. First, a word from our sponsor, Edo Japan. From hand-rolled sushi to bento box meals made with their famous teriyaki sauce, Edo Japan's menu has something for everyone. I know why everybody loves this show. It's so different from anything else you're going to see anywhere. We've established that. But when he's talking about Tampa Bay and Tom, just so you know, Darren, this morning on ESPN, I think it was First Take, they were debating, are the Saints and the Bucks now the NFL's top rivalry? You saw the brawl that went down. If you like one guy getting shoved to the ground, it's now a brawl. And maybe that is the biggest rivalry. I flip everything to hockey. What is hockey's biggest rivalry? And it's automatically Oilers-Flames. There's no two ways about that. In Florida, you would say Lightning Panthers. I'll tell you what, there were more fighting majors in games between the Panthers and Lightning last year than there were between the Oilers and Flames. Just last year, more fighting majors, if that means anything to anybody. But as a Leafs fan, do you want to challenge those two rivalries, Battle of Alberta, Battle of Florida, with anything that you got going on? Well, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, not today. I think it's changing. I think at one point I would have said Leafs Bruins when they had those playoff series. In the early 2000s, I might have said Toronto Ottawa. And in the older folks that I never got to see a Toronto Montreal rivalry. Just it's never been a thing for me. And, I'm in my mid 30s. So right now I would go Flames Oilers as the best rivalry in the NHL.
Is and always will be. But like you say, in the NFL, I think they all change. But right now they say Bucks Saints. And I think that's just because of coming out of the weekend. I'll spend a minute here on the NFL, and then we'll move on because, as I say, we give people things that they can't get anywhere else. I hear that a lot from Canadian viewers. You're the only one talking CFL, so that's why I watch. And I feel like, is that a good or a bad thing for us? Are we so behind we think we're ahead? Or Do you know what I mean? Like, we're the only ones talking
Yeah.
CFL on daytime television and on sports talk. I'm not sure necessarily that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyways, to the NFL Monday night in Philly, Jalen Hurts had 301 total yards in the first half in the breakout game of his young career, finishing with 3 total touchdowns as he led the Philadelphia Eagles to a 24-7 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Again, headline this morning on ESPN, what they're talking about is Jalen Hurts franchise quarterback material in Philly. I'm like, why are you talking about this? They don't have anybody else. Gardner Minshew is the backup. Of course he's the franchise. God, can we talk about something that matters? Orchard Park, New York. Josh Allen threw for 4 touchdown passes, including 3 to Stephon Diggs. And the Buffalo Bills rolled to a 41-7 win over the Tennessee Titans. The Bills covered. Darren gave his thoughts about the game off the top. And I'll just say this. The Bills are kicking the crap out of everybody. It's double-digit wins over everybody. And reminded me, after the Rough Riders won the 2013 Grey Cup. The next year, if you remember, we started 6-0. And I remember flying home from some road trip somewhere. And I was beside Paul Waldo. Empty seat in the middle. Waldo was against the window. And I said, wow, we got a team here. And Waldo goes, we're kicking the crap out of everybody. Well, what derailed the Riders that year was the quarterback getting hurt. So that's the only thing that will derail the Buffalo Bills from winning the Super Bowl, and it is injury. And I can't wait for them to get down here to Miami on Sunday and take on the Dolphins, who are 2-0, and they're saying this might be the greatest Dolphins team ever. That's what they're saying. By the way, word from our sponsor. Dark Horse Bets is Woodbine's easy-to-use betting app that brings the excitement of live stream horse races right to you. Its AI-powered insights and strategies help you make smarter bets straight out of the gate. Download the app for free at playdarkhorse.com. Available for Android and Apple devices. I'm going to read one CFL point. It's news, and then we'll get into some CFL fake news after the break, the fun stuff. They're on a bye week, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers could clinch a home playoff game without stepping onto the field. Winnipeg would cement a home playoff game if BC defeats Calgary Saturday night at BC Place. The Lions edged the Stamps last weekend at McMahon and would also secure a postseason spot with a sweep of the home-and-home series. So the Lions would clinch a playoff berth with a win. If they lose, they'd still secure a playoff berth if both Hamilton and Ottawa lose this week. I'm not sure who wrote this for the Canadian press. It seems like a third grader. So I'm just going to stop right there. But the CFL sent out its playoff scenario news release, and that's some of what. It's still far too complicated, guys. Just go win. Sask's on a bye week, however. This week's games are Hamilton at Montreal, Toronto at Ottawa, Calgary at BC. There's just 3. When we come back, we'll discuss, because everybody likes to talk about Canada's team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the team that I named that, the CFL's Dallas Cowboys. The coach, it just hit the wire today, what the coach said after the game Friday night. We're not very good. Now everybody's making a big deal out of it. It's at 3downnation.com. And Darren, I don't know if you saw this, but some fans are like, who'd want to play for that guy? The coach said we're not very good. It's now Tuesday. That quote came out Friday night. So we'll kick that around. And some other CFL news. I want to talk Seattle Kraken, Vegas Golden Knights, Blue Jays, and the Aaron Judge chase of the Roger Maris record. So we'll be right back. It's the RP Show on Game Plus Television, live streaming on YouTube, and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG. Always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
The RP Show continues from sunny and beautiful South Florida. And I'll tell you what, we started out a little shaky, but we're rolling now. And a lot of great text messages have come in, and I'll get to those on the 902 line. And we've saved the best for almost last. Yesterday marked 18 years, the anniversary of Sarina Taylor. At the time, Topher being the first ever female play-by-play broadcaster in the Western Hockey League on CKRM Radio. And Clark, good Post had a story on it. This from the Calgary Herald. And I thank our friend Kevin Shaw, the Blue Liner on Twitter. He's a Regina Pats historian, for posting that. Regina Pats Radio, Sarina Topher, and she joins us today to discuss that and a lot of other things. Our viewers met her at the World Juniors for the first time. Good day, Sarina. And hey, so the anniversary came and went, 18 years. Tell me, did you have it marked down in your calendar? Did you recall the date?
No, I had absolutely no idea until you sent me the clip. I was like, I didn't even know that was when it was.
Well, it was great. Quotes in there from you, both from Greg Harder and Scott Cruikshank from those newspapers. And we kind of brought that up at the World Juniors, but let's do it again. It was kind of groundbreaking stuff that I don't think at the time you felt that you were breaking much ground. Take us back 18 years. What do you remember about calling Pats games? And there were quite a few on CKRM Radio.
I think it was definitely very nerve-wracking because there's obviously a lot more people judging you. I'm certainly no Rod Pedersen. So when people are used to listening to you on there, I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Obviously, everybody's judgy. That's the way it goes. But there's a lot of stuff I remember. It was a lot of fun just being in that environment because I still had a full-time job, obviously, at CKRM. But there was just a lot of media from around the country, like reaching out, wanting interviews. And it was cool, but it wasn't my first actual hockey play-by-play job. I had done that with the Legionnaires and Swift Current. but this was my first in the Western Hockey League. So there's a lot of big shoes to fill.
Well, obviously, you did a great job. Is there anything, before we move on to some current hockey topics, from those games, those broadcasts that you remember that when we brought the anniversary up, that kind of jarred in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. My very first game was in Brandon, and it was a preseason game. So I had Bruce Lupke, who was the play-by-play guy for the Wheat Kings, as my color guy, because they weren't doing the games. And again, not televised, none of that kind of stuff. And I remember specifically Jordy McGilvery had marked their Lego, and it turned into this big suspension and this big thing that McGilvery ended up having to deal with. And I've always been adamant that it was a clean hit. And there's very few people who actually saw it. And there was nobody there. And to this day, it makes me crazy because I can see the hit plain as day. But how do you, yeah, it was just, that was probably the most memorable, especially because it was my first game.
Yeah, and like I said, went on to call some others. How did it feel being back behind the microphone analyzing hockey at the World Juniors?
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. It was like, it felt so good to be back. I missed every part of just, I think the best part was being in Canada and being at the rink there. It's just such a different vibe. And everybody knows what's going on from top to bottom. And so there's just a different vibe up there, and there's a different energy. And it just kind of felt like old home. You know, it was a lot of fun.
Good, good. So of the news today, and you're sitting in South Florida, not exactly a hockey hotbed, but the news does reach you. Zdeno Chara, PK Subban, and Keith Yandle all announcing their retirements this morning. Our poll question is, which one of those did you enjoy watching the most? I couldn't really decide on one. I settled on PK, but how would you answer that question? And do you have thoughts on those players and their retirements?
Yeah, Keith Yandle, hands down. It's almost like Chara, like, is he really still even playing? Like, does he even count? It's been like 5 years since he's really done anything. So it's like, I don't know, who was that retired like 3 years after he actually retired? It's kind of one of those things. And then I've never been a Subban fan, just not a fan of his antics. But Keith Yandle, you know, I always admired him. He played here in Florida. And so I always enjoyed watching him, especially because I could see him live.
The other news today is of the Toronto Maple Leafs announcing a milk logo will be going on their jerseys, as the NHL has okayed the, I guess, what should I say, the addition of logos on the jerseys this season. Do you have a take on that?
I can't wait for the memes, because the Leafs are going to get roasted, because they get roasted for everything they do. But, you know, as an Oiler fan, the Oilers, the last I heard was that they decided not to participate in that because they're like, we don't really need the money. I don't know. I mean, I grew up where there was no advertisements on the boards and there was no advertisements on the ice. And now it's all like second nature, and it's like watching hockey in Europe. I'm kind of impartial to it. I don't really care, but I guess it's up to each team specifically.
Okay, and last one. It was the other day that I said I predicted a Calgary, Florida Stanley Cup, and I believe it. The Flames and Panthers won their pennants in their respective divisions last year. What would be your Stanley Cup final prediction as we sit here today?
Can we go back to the fact that you predicted Calgary and Florida last year?
Absolutely. And they won as many Stanley Cups as the Edmonton Oilers. But anyways, continue.
How about that?
Don't how about that, me. You know, I feel like the Stanley Cup, it's like the conversation we had the other day. Everybody, obviously Colorado's strengths like speak for themselves, but when you take a couple guys out of your lineup, including a goaltender, you're obviously going to have a little bit of a change in what's happening. So I don't know. I feel like maybe the Rangers might be a bit of a dark horse in the East. It ain't going to be Toronto. Sadly, I just don't think they don't have the leadership, and they've proven it. They're just not a team that can get it done. As far as the West, I guess maybe Colorado. I don't know. It's always up in the air to me. You just never know what's going to happen.
So you're saying, or you're not saying, Colorado, New York Rangers?
I'm saying not Calgary and not Florida. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, that leaves a pretty wide pool. Jason and Red Deer lastly wants our thoughts on Nathan McKinnon becoming the highest paid player in the NHL. That was this morning, $12.5 million average annual value. Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think that when guys get signed onto contracts, it's always this rolling thing. So, for example, if you sign a guy for 8 years, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the contracts aren't going to be what they were 4 years ago to what they are right now. So someone's always going to come in and be the highest paid guy. It's always going to be, and it might not be the best player in the league. Nate McKinnon is definitely at the top of that. But I mean, that's just, to me, that's Colorado saying, this is our guy. We're going with him right to the end. And I admire that because it can always go different ways.
All right, I'll read the news story on that in a moment, but I'll say this, your phone's going off like crazy, so we'll let you get back to what you were doing. But thanks for this, and congratulations again on the 18-year anniversary.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
The first ever female play-by-play broadcaster in Western Hockey League history, Sarina Matofer. At the time, Serena Taylor now. And what Jason's referring to is more breaking hockey news on this Tuesday. The Colorado Avalanche are making Nathan McKinnon the highest paid player in the NHL salary cap era. McKinnon, who just turned 27 earlier this month, has signed an 8-year contract worth $100.8 million, according to a person with knowledge of the situation. His new $12.6 million salary cap hit that goes into effect at the start of the 2023-24 season surpasses Connor McDavid's $12.5 million as the highest in the league. McDavid's $100 million 8-year deal with the Oilers, signed in 2017, was the previous record for the highest annual cap hit since the system went into place in 2005. You know what? We'll talk about that and all the other news that we got into next in our final segment, Overtime. It's the RP Show, Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, streaming sports radio 24/7 at rodpeterson.com, and on the radio in Metro Atlanta at 99.1 WQEE FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
dark horse bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful sunny day on the beach. And that spot right there, I'll tell you, that is off the back of the beach house in Pompano Beach, Florida. And it sounds like, hey, Clark, things are coming together. Our big live show there, Monday, October the 3rd, featuring Mike Kelly and Andrew Nowacki. That'll be a great CFL, NFL show. And then Monday, October the 10th, our NHL preview show with guests from the Florida Panthers down live at the beach house. Oh, man, life is good. Fun. Yes. Messages coming in from our viewers to my personal phone. I'm glad that we entertain you. Appreciate it. The poll question today on the breaking news in the NHL today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center with dealerships, Capital all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Of the NHL players who retired today, whom did you enjoy watching the most? And that was yours, right, Clark? I think it was Clark's idea, or maybe it was Darren's. Oh, it was Braden. That's right. It was our intern. How about that? Braden Wozniak, our intern, not just a pretty face. Zdeno Chara, PK Subban, or Keith Yandel. Here is the split of the vote as we sit here right now. Zdeno Chara, 55%. 39% PK Subban, and 6% Keith Yandel. And I'll tell you, it's interesting. Oh, fans of the Vancouver Canucks writing in. They hate Chara. Fans of the Montreal Canadiens writing in. They hate Chara. He injured people. He's 6'9". It's going to happen. It's not his fault. A little like Dustin Byfuglien. Just a bruiser. He's going to the Hall of Fame. So people are saying Zdeno Chara. From a sheer higher risk, higher reward perspective, I would say PK Subban. He was fun to watch because, as they say, when PK Subban's on the ice, somebody's probably going to score. You just never know which team. So I'll say PK. And Keith Yandel, 6% of the vote. Just a good player. 1,109 games, 619 points. 3 great NHL players hanging him up today. Life goes on. We do call this viewer takeover for the Four Seasons Sports Palace. Your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. Cynthia's watching in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she says, "Hi, Rod. Buffalo is my home away from home. The next time you visit, let me know, and I'll show you the right side of town. Also, I'll give you a boat tour of the harbor." Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. At the time when I went to Buffalo, we didn't want the right side of town. When I say we ended up on the wrong side of town, wasn't a bad thing. We were looking for that. We found it. Daniel Upsdell in Vancouver writes in and says, "Hey, Rod, how are you?" Signed, Danny in Vancouver. I'm good, Danny in Vancouver. Look around. How are you, more importantly? Jennifer at the Four Seasons says, "Does Yandel still have the Iron Man?" He said it, as you know. But folks, help me out. And Clark, did Phil Kessel break it? He's going to this season, Clark says. This season, Phil Kessel will have the Iron Man record. Let's just go to the big board. NHL Iron Man record. As we sit here today. Who holds the Ironman? Arizona Coyotes forward Phil Kessel will now have the longest active Ironman streak at 968 consecutive games. So it is Kessel now? Oh, Yandel has it now, and Kessel will break. I see what you're saying. Can I read this? Placeline, Voorhees, New Jersey. Keith Yandel's NHL record consecutive games played streak ended at 989 when the Flyers defenseman was a healthy scratch for a 6-3 loss to the Leafs. That part we all knew, right? That just was this past April. So, yeah, he's going to fall. We sorted it all out together. Randy from Winnipeg says, great show and guests, RP crew. He says, tainted Kessel Iron Man. I'm not getting into that. John Ohm in Winnipeg. Best damn sports show in the world, RP show. Thank you, John. I appreciate that very greatly. Wayne in Victoria, BC. It was a fun and interesting show as usual. Always entertaining. Thank you. Ryan in Toronto says, hey, Rod, which NFL evening broadcast is your favorite? Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football? It's not Sunday Night Football. I'm not the biggest fan of that crew. I would say right now, probably Monday Night Football. Thursday's last week was just a little weird. That was the first of Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit being paired together, and it just seemed awkward. I really liked their panel, though, with Richard Sherman and Ryan Fitzpatrick, with the caveat here that they're all great, okay? It's the National Football League. It's like people talking about NHL broadcasters. It's the NHL. They're all great. Here's what's your favorite over the others. I guess I would have to say right now Monday Night Football because it's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And any crew that Troy Aikman's on would be my favorite. I don't care for that Steve Levy crew, but I think they did the second game on Monday Night Football last night. Last minute of play in hour one. Last minute of play. But it's subjective. But anything with Aikman in it is my favorite. I really like the panel. Because to be honest, when they get into the play-by-play in pretty much any sport, as I've said, I turn the sound down. I don't usually listen. I like any panel with Randy Moss on it. I like any panel with Rex Ryan on it. From the Hockey Club podcast in Tallahassee, Florida, he says, don't forget the official college football team of the RP show. The Florida State Seminoles are 3-0. Host Boston College this weekend. Patty, I appreciate you. But the Alabama Crimson Tide is the official college football team of the RP show. You know that. And the official college hockey team is the FAU Owls. You missed. We were talking about that. They're home this weekend. We'll pick it all up tomorrow. Noon Eastern. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and you have a great 22 hours.
Who has more fun than us?
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You're not going spicy. Oh, good one, Rod.